For a team that represents one of the most dominant footballing regions of the country, going trophyless for 10 years was not something that they had imagined. But that is exactly what Juan Pedro Benali has managed to change and given the Northeast United fans a ray of hope. Look at their stats this year. They lead the league in the number of chances created. They have the record-breaking goal scorer in Ajarei. They're giving chances to some Indian beautiful diamonds like NEUFC, McCartan, and all of them, realizing what potential that they have. And all credit, I must say, goes to Juan Pedro Benali. 2024 Durand Cup must have been the best year for Northeast United fans. They finally managed to win a trophy, and Juan Pedro Benali's tactical transformation has been at the center of it. So in this video, we are going to exactly talk about the wonders that Juan Pedro Benali has done with Northeast United and why they play such an aggressive brand of football. Let's start the video and not waste any more time. So to begin with, let's understand the formation, how Northeast United line up. So Northeast United, on paper, they play in a 4-2-3-1 formation, and they have a very stable back seven if I include the goalkeeper and the holding midfielders. Even in the front, I think they have a very stable core of the team where, you have goalkeeper Gurmeet, where you have right back Redeem, left back Samte, you have the two centre backs in Zabako and Ashnir, and then you have the two pivots in Bemamer and Mayakanan. Then you have NEUFC on the right, you have Ajarei on the left, we've seen McCartan play at the number 10, and it's LBH or Guillermo who are playing at the number 9 position. But again, this is how it seems on paper, but when they're on the pitch, there is a lot of rotation, especially in the front four, right? So sometimes it's Ajarei who's leading the line, sometimes it's McCartan who's playing on the left, sometimes it's LBH who's playing at the number 10. So a lot of rotation in the front four, but I think the core of the team is more or less this. And this is, I would say, a preferred lineup or a preferred starting 11 for Juan Pedro Benali. Now let us understand how they line up both while attacking and while defending. Let's first talk about how Northeast United defends. Defensively, they have a very similar shape as they have on paper. So they defend in a 4-2-3-1 and they like to press high. They like to press aggressively. What they usually do is they would want to start their press at the middle of the halfway line. In the halfway line, they would let the opposition play out from the back if they want to. They would let the opposition centre backs or the goalkeeper start the play. But where they actually start their press is more and more around the halfway line. And they choose a very high and they choose a very aggressive pressing system, right? तो अगर Ajarei होंगे या Guillermo होगा या LBH होंगे, all of them, as and when the opposition brings the ball to the halfway line, they would want to steal the ball, they would want to press high, and they would want to push the opposition to lose the ball. And that is where a lot of the attacking transitions also start for them. So the major way that they defend, बहुत ज़्यादा compact नहीं होते हैं, right? I wouldn't say they're too compact, they're too wide. They play a decent, defensive line when it comes to the width that they maintain, and they don't play a very high line. So unlike a lot of teams, something like probably what a Jamshedpur FC does or some other teams do, Northeast United don't have a really very high line, especially when they have to defend, right? Until and unless it's a defensive transition, their defensive line is quite deep as compared to some of the other ISL teams. And especially when the opposition builds up from the back, they try, and the back foot tries to be around the goalkeeper's, edge of the box. And they don't want to really go too high, because I wouldn't say their fullbacks or the defenders are the most pacey of the players, so they wouldn't want anyone to lift a long ball behind them. So again, the defensive line is more around the edge of the box, and that is how they like to defend, and they love to press the ball aggressively as and when the ball comes to in and around the half. But the magic that Juan Pedro Benali does with Northeast United comes when they are attacking and when the magic of Aladdin Ajarei also comes into the picture. But before we move to how Northeast United attacks, go hit the subscribe button. I think 90% of my viewers are people who've not subscribed to the channel. So subscribe to Football Unplugged to stay tuned for more similar videos and press on the bell icon. I think you'll get all the updates about some wonderful content coming up in Football Unplugged. So when they attack, ऐसे build up from the back बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं करते हैं. They are not too big on building up from the back. Situational देखते हैं, but usually they play a long ball for someone like Albiaz, someone like Ajarei to hold the ball, or someone to give a second flick on or a second ball ka flick on to runners like NEUFC, like Aladdin Ajarei. So usually they choose a long ball when they're starting from the back. But how they line up while attacking is very interesting. And here the role of the two pivots, the two holding midfielders that they have in Benali'S and Mayakanan is very important. So if I have to talk about the shape, so they usually play in a 3-3-4 position when they're attacking and when they're on the ball. It can also be called a 3-1-2-4 or a 3-3-4. So what realistically happens is when they're attacking, what usually happens is Zabako will go to the left, Akhtar would stay at the center, and Redeem would be at the right side of the back three, of the last. Then what happens? Then you'd have Benali'S as the deeper of the two pivots who will be in front of the three, जो last defensive three है उनके आगे Benali'S होंगी, and then you have McCartan and then you have Mayakanan who are ahead of Benali'S. आप उसको 3-1-2-4 भी कह सकते हो और 3-3-4 भी कह सकते हो. So basically we have Benali'S, Mayakanan and McCartan ahead of the back three. And again, the most interesting bit, or where the magic also happens, is the front four. And you will see here the full back, the left back, is one of the most advanced players while attacking. And because of this, Aladdin Ajarei gets a lot of space and is able to get on these, half spaces. So unlike a lot of other teams, let's say, unlike a Mohan Bagan where Liston Colasso and Manveer Singh maintain the width, or similarly, जैसे जमशेदपुर की बात करी हमने, they're also, the wingers are the players who maintain the width. But here, Samte is the one who maintains the width, is the most wide player on the left hand side, and what this does is gives a lot of freedom to Ajarei, Guillermo or Albiaz, whosoever is playing, to have change their positions, have a lot of fluidity, have a lot of rotation. So attackingly, what Northeast United do is they're very fluid. Their forwards keep on changing their positions. Ajarei and let's say Albiaz, who's playing as the number 10 or the number 9 in a lot of different occasions, they change positions a lot. And because you have Samte on the left hand side maintaining width, and you have let's say NEUFC who's maintaining width on the other hand, on the other side, Ajarei and Guillermo both a lot of times occupy the half spaces. And in case they don't occupy the half spaces, they're more central. What this does is this gives space for players like McCartan or Mayakanan to go into the half spaces and make a run from deep into the box. And this is where a lot of goals for Northeast United also happen, where a deep run, let's say even by Aladdin Ajarei or someone like a McCartan or a Mayakanan, they make a deep run. And because defenders don't usually aren't usually able to mark that deep run, a lot of times that ball towards that run from the half spaces usually result ki jo player hai, he's able to pull one ball back into the box, and that is where poachers like, or brilliant finishers like Ajarei, Guillermo, Albiaz, NEUFC, I think they do their magic. So it's quite a brilliant structure, it's quite brilliant rotation. And I think what Juan Pedro Benali has said to Ajarei, take whatever space you feel is right. I think he's given him that freedom, and that is ultimately bringing the best out of Aladdin Ajarei. बहुत बार होता है आप उनको right hand side पे देखोगे half spaces पे, a lot of times he's at the left hand side in the half space, a lot of times he's at the number 9 position. But I think the most brilliant part about Aladdin Ajarei and the tremendous goal scoring form that he's been in is finding the right positions. Kitne crosses pe, a lot of times what Northeast does is just play a decent cross in the box. It's not the most threatening cross. But I think Aladdin Ajarei's ability to anticipate ball kahan pe aayegi and make the right run, I think is one of the major reasons that he's managed to score so many goals. And that is one of the major reasons Northeast does so well attackingly. And I think the biggest problem for Northeast, because in terms of absolute creation of chance, they're number one. Right? Aladdin Ajarei scoring tons and tons of goals for them. But the biggest problem for them is the other people not contributing. You would want someone like an Albias, someone like a Jitin MS, or contribute more with the goals. I think Northeast has a lot of dependency on Aladdin Ajarei, and that is where, in a lot of matches where Aladdin does not score goals, Northeast United finds it difficult to score. And, in a lot of matches where probably Aladdin Ajarei is not at his best, other people need to step up. And I think that is where they've lost a lot of points. Right now the top 6 is very tricky, but in matches like Kerala Blasters versus Northeast, Kerala Blasters received a red card in 30 minutes in the match against Mohammedan. Right, in the match against I think they had another draw in the match against Odisha. They conceded a last minute goal. So imagine, Kuro, if these 3 matches where I genuinely think they should have won the matches, they lost 6 points, and 6 points at this point of time is going to be a game changer between definite qualification to the playoffs or missing out as an opportunity to qualify. And Northeast at this point of time definitely needs to qualify after a brilliant Durand Cup that they had. Defensively, I think if I have to talk about weaknesses and strengths of Juan Pedro Benali's Northeast United, I think if I have to talk about some of the strengths, I think the fluidity that they have, the attacking fluidity that they have, they commit a lot of numbers, which gives them a lot of different ways to attack. A lot of times what Samte would do is give a cut back at the edge of the box, and you will find players there. So other times Samte would lift a ball to the back post, you will still find players there. They commit a lot of numbers to attack, and that is why they've been able to score a lot of goals. Ajarei's form has been one of the best things to happen for them, right? Again, a couple of advantages that there were, a couple of strengths that they have, if I can say that. The performances by Indian players. Jitin MS received his first call up. McCartan is having a wonderful season. Even defenders like Akhtar, even defenders like Redeem, they're doing phenomenally well. And even Mayakanan, even in the match, Benali'S has not played in the last couple of matches. I think he's played that role phenomenally well. So I think he's been able to get the best out of the Indian players. The problem, I think, with Northeast United is the fact that, number one, they have over dependency on Aladdin. More than that, I think when they commit a lot of people forward, they leave a lot out of the back, right? I think eventually they just have 3 players, and if Benali'S or the holding midfielder is sometimes still advanced, they don't have any players covering up. So a lot of times the goal that they concede when they've lost ball in attack, and they're conceding, or they are at the end of a transition. I think that is where Northeast United suffers a lot. And that is one place that they need to sort of sort out, find ways to get more people behind, because that is where they've also conceded a lot of goals defensively. More important than that, they need to convert their chances. With the amount of chances that they've created and with the amount of goals that Aladdin Ajarei has scored, one expected them to be at the top of the ISL table, or at least number 2. But sadly, because of low contribution from other people, I think the finishing needs to be worked upon by Northeast United as a whole. Yes, Guillermo's injury did not really help, but I think that is no excuse for them not scoring too many goals. But whatever the case may be with their finishing, one has to agree that Juan Pedro Benali has completely transformed Northeast United ever since his recruitment as the manager for the football club. But he's not the only one who's completely revolutionizing Indian football clubs. We have another Indian coach in Khalid Jamil who's been doing this phenomenally well, and I've also made one tactical analysis of Jamshedpur FC under Khalid Jamil, so go and check that video out as well. I'll put the link in the description and in the I tab as well. And not just him, I've analyzed a bunch of ISL clubs from Mohun Bagan to Punjab FC to Bengaluru FC and Kerala Blasters as well. So I'll also attach to the link to the playlist where I've all the videos of the tactical analysis of Indian football clubs. So go check that out. And do subscribe Football Unplugged if you like what the channel has to offer. Comment what you would want to see next in the channel, and let me know how am I doing and what are some of the other videos that I can make. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day ahead.